Hi, Shema Polot here. Welcome back to the channel. So this week, what I'm trying to do is help you create a graph from a bunch of data when you've been given some sort of assignment. And to illustrate that, I'm going to use an example. So there's a football team and the coach wants to know how the players performed in the year 2016. And the way we're going to do performance is just the number of goals each of the players scored in the whole year. Let's see how we can do that. So here is the data, here are the players. We have the players' names, and when we have the goals they've scored from January to December in the year 2016. And these are the totals. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to show the coach how many goals were scored in the year 2016 so that he can sort of determine the performance of the different players. So what I'm going to do, first of all, is convert this range of data into a special Excel table by pressing Ctrl+T. And I click OK, and then now it's nice and colorful, but I don't like the color, so what I do is I clear that. I go up here to the toolbar and I click clear, so it's still in a special table but it doesn't have so much color. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to create a chart that tells me how many goals were scored by each player. So to create that chart, what I do is I select the players' names, I hold down Control, come across here to the total goals, hold that down and drag down, and then I go to insert, and I want to use a bar chart because we're trying to show categorical information. And there we go, there we have our chart. Now we are going to try and customize this chart to make it look a little better so that it can show the information we want as clearly as possible. Okay, so for now I'm going to cut this chart from here and paste it in this sheet over here. I'm going to leave that there, come back. So I also want to teach you a shortcut for creating a chart. So I can do the same thing. I select the names again, hold down Control, select those, go down, then hold Alt, Fn, and F1. And as you can see, our chart is created automatically. Sometimes on your PC, it will be Alt and the Windows button and F1, so it really just depends. But one of the two should give you what you want on a PC. On a Mac, I'm not really sure how to do it on a Mac, but let me just delete that and go back to our sheet. So now we have our data here, and what I want to do, so this chart right now, we can just edit the title a bit. Let's put total goals scored in 2016. Okay, and I'm just going to add axis titles. Okay, call this goals scored. And then down here, call these players. Okay, so for most people, this chart as it is perfect and we could stop there. But more often than not, if you're trying to tell a story to a specific audience, in this case being the coach, you want to customize this chart so that the audience can read it and process the information as fast as possible. So to do that, I'm going to perform a bunch of customizations in this chart, this one on the right, and then we shall compare the two at the very end. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and customize a few things using a bunch of principles of design, which you may or may not be familiar with, but let's get to it. So the first thing I want to do is I want to change the size of the bars. The width of the bars should always be larger than the space in between the bars. To do that, I click on the bars and you can see they're all highlighted. I right click, I go to Format Data Series. What I want to change is the gap width. The gap width is the space in between the bars. I want to make the bar width smaller so that the bars are bigger. As I drag it, you see the bars get a bit bigger. And let's leave it there. I think that looks good enough. Let's close that. All right, so the next thing I want to do is we can add data labels to put the individual goals scored by each player on top of the bars. To do that, I go up here to data labels, click that, go to outside end, and now you can see the goals on top of the bars. And then since we have the data labels on top of the bars, we don't need the grid lines because the grid lines help us find the number of goals scored on the y-axis. So I'm just going to click on the grid lines like that, see them highlighted, backspace to delete them. Then we also don't need the y-axis anymore. I'm going to delete that as well. And I'm going to delete that as well. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to move this title to the top left corner. I'm going to click inside the chart to change to make the uniform font of Arial throughout. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change the color of the data labels. Because the bars are blue, I want to make the data labels blue as well. So I change that there to the default, maybe make those bold. So the coach considers a successful player a player who has scored 50 goals or more. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to highlight the players who have scored less than 50 goals. So to do that, I click all the bars so they're all selected, but then I click to select an individual bar. I want to change the color of the bars that are below 50 goals. So I right click and I go up to fill, and I just want to make that gray to make it sort of go to the background. And I do the same for all the other bars. And then I'm going to change the colors of those specific data labels above the goals that are below 50 to a gray. Do that, make that gray. And there we have it, we're almost done. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to move this players to that corner. I'm going to just write it in capital letters. And then one more thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a text box that highlights the players that have scored 50 goals or more. So I go up to there, I get a text box, and then I want to put it somewhere up here. I'm just going to draw the text box out there, then type 50 goals or more, and I want to highlight all of that, change the font to Arial as well, make it blue, bold it, just make that bigger so it fits on one line. There we go. Then I'm just going to align it. I wanted to put it a bit close to the blue bars. All right, so I'm going to put it there. Then, all right, and there we have it. Now, right now, if I leave it like this, if I move this chart, there we go, it's already attached to the chart. Okay. And there we have it. So now, when we look at the two graphs side by side, we can easily see that the one on the right is a bit better. And the reason why that is just because one of them is using certain principles of design to sort of draw attention to specific things and also make it easier to read the chart, and also cluttering unnecessary ink like the grid lines and the axis lines when we don't need them. And we choose when we don't need them by adding the data labels. And I put 50 goals or more there in blue because I want you to associate the blue color with people who have scored 50 goals or more. And there you have it. Your chart is ready. You could now click on the chart. We can remove that outline. And then if you wanted to present this in a meeting, you could get this, copy it, and then you could fire up PowerPoint and very quickly add a shape really quickly. There we go. That's right. Four players scored less than 50 goals in 2016. Okay, I'm going to highlight that. I'm going to change the font. Let me use Arial again. Make it a bit bigger, bold it, move it to the end. I want to make it a bit bigger. There we go. And then here we can copy our graph. Copy our graph, make it bigger. And there we have it. Okay, so we could present this, and voila, we have a presentation that we could share with the coach, and everything will be clean and simple. All right, thank you, and that is it for this session. There you have it, guys. When you're trying to make charts, it's very important that you consider principles of design, which help you pull the audience's attention to specific aspects on your graph, and you do that using color and size and a bunch of other principles. I'll link certain resources for designing charts and things like that, which can be really helpful. But for now, thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe, smash that like button if this was useful to you. If it wasn't, smash that like anyway. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next video.